Hello and welcome back to the realm of chaos. Alright, guess what time it is? That's right, the new balance update has come through for Warhammer 40k, and y'all know me, I'm all about the world eaters, so we're really just going to be taking a look at the boys right here. But I think the first stop we're going to make is we're going to go to the Universal Rules updates and see if there's anything that changes for our boys in brass. Start up Universal Rules updates. See if anything really affects us, and maybe we'll get some ideas here. So, modifying a stratagem CP cost. Rules that enable you to target a friendly unit with a stratagem for 0 CP, but that do not specify the name of the stratagem. Instead, reduce the CP cost of that use of that stratagem by 1 CP. Okay. Sounds a little bit like the Tacoma Open rules. If I have anything wrong on that, feel free to let me know. Stratagems that can be used more than once per phase or turn. Part of a rule that allows a player to use a stratagem, even if they have already targeted another unit with that stratagem, in the same phase can only be used if the name of the stratagem is specified in that rule. Okay. Similarly, if a stratagem is limited to one use per player per turn, per battle round, or per battle, such parts of that rule can only be used if the name of the stratagem is specified in that rule. Okay. Stratagems that prevent units from being targeted. If a stratagem has an effect that says the target's unit can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack of the attacking model if the attacking model is within 12 inches, or cannot be targeted by ranged attacks unless the attacking model is within 12 inches. That effect is changed to say can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 18 inches. Okay. Stratagems that add new units to your army. If a stratagem has the effect of adding a new unit to your army that is identical to the destroyed unit, and the following restriction to the stratagem, you can only use the stratagem once per battle. So the only thing I can think of with the world eaters that really affects would be Cult of Blood. Whenever you bring back, whenever you bring back the jackals with a stratagem. Interesting. I may need to double check that later. So again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I get stuff wrong all the time. So okay, pop back out of there. Let's scroll on down. Let's get back to our boys in brass, the world eaters. Okay, then a little color disclaimer up there. So I'm kind of assuming, not noticed any color changes here. I believe all this is the same. Okay. Here we go, rules updates. We'll strictly focus on the highlighted in red, the new stuff. So Cult of Blood, Butcher Lord enhancement. I actually just saw, funnily enough, I actually saw somebody just the other day, in an Exalted video, I believe, asking a question about, shout out Exalted, by the way, great channel, about the Slaughterbound attaching to the Goremongers. Cult of Blood attachment. Butcher Lord enhancement changed to World Eater's infantry model only. The bearer has the infiltrator's ability. So that just clarifies that a little bit. It sounds like, I feel like it had already said that, but maybe, I don't know. I have to double check the old wording. But pretty sure it just, I'm pretty sure it already stated that it did that, but I could be wrong again. Khorne Demonkin attachment. Disciple of Khorne enhancement. One of my favorites. Lord on Juggernaut model only. The bearer has the Deep Strike ability, and it has the Blood Legion's faction keyword instead of the World Eater's faction keyword. That again, I thought that was already there, but maybe that was something they missed carrying over from the 10th edition rules. But just some little clarifications there. It looks like everything else is the same. Nothing new there. Okay. Nothing super exciting yet, but that's about to change, hopefully, as we move on. You know, all you other peeps, I love you. But we want to take a look at what we got for the world leaders in the Munitorum field manual. I did my first RTT week or so ago. I already do a little video just kind of recapping that. But a little chit chat about that and kind of my experience, but we'll talk about that later. Munitorum field manual. All right, making it easy on us. One thing I love about world leaders is you know, small brain, don't need to think too much. You could just scroll straight down to the bottom, and I'm already seeing some good stuff. Okay, so Angron, dropping 20 points to 330 points. That's good. 20 points is a pretty good drop. We'll see. Makes him a little more takeable, but of course, the main thing with Angron, in my opinion, is the fact that the rest of your army loses their blessings if you bring him back, and that is brutal. Oh, Angron. What you once were. It's alright, buddy. So, Predators. They dropped the Predators by 5 points on both the base cost and then the cost for taking more than one. Rhino's dropping 10. That is awesome. That is great. First of all, I want to say I think this stuff is yeah, I think it's needed. I think that's good. Dropping to 75 points on a Rhino is great, especially for like Gore Track. In my opinion, that helps a lot, making them the same price as some Goremongers. That's good. Ooh, okay. This is juicy. I think the Terminators are on the menu. I played a couple games with the new Terminator detachment, the Butchers of Corn, and they felt really good to me. Now, I don't get to play a whole lot, so take that with a grain of salt, but that -1 to wound stratagem, or not -1 to wound, that -1 to damage stratagem coming in, I felt like that made them really tanky. So Terminators are definitely on the menu. I can hear Exalted already. Again, shout out Exalted. Just gooning over 30 Terminators. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to dust off some more Terminators and put them to work. Ooh, okay. Great stuff here. 8 bound, still a good unit in my opinion. I think they hit pretty good, but I think the main thing that they give is the buffs. Defiler, the first one, stayed at 270. I think that's good because, you know, our Defiler just doesn't have quite the power that the other ones do. But Brazen Engines does help. But jumping by 10 for the second or more, and then 5 for the last cannons. Okay. I mean, that stratagem in Brazen Engines that allows them to ignore modifiers is good. I don't know if it was strictly necessary to bump them up in points, but I do know there's still some people running 2 Defilers. I generally ride 1. I just I feel like that one stratagem, giving your boost to shooting, doesn't make up for the amount of effect that cover has on our shooting. But we'll see. Putting it back here to the 8 bound. I think this is pretty juicy. And also the Exalted 8 bound, both dropping by 10 points. That is awesome. I'll have to take a look at how much different my RTT list would have been. But we'll talk about that later. Forge Fiend here dropping by 20 points. Very nice. The per ectoplasm cannon. So do they mean... You can technically have 3, but is the main one the head one? Is that considered different? I don't know. You can toy around with that in the app. But dropping by 20 points, that is very good. I've tried a couple lists with the Forge Fiend, and that re-rolling the hits is awesome. Doesn't make up for just the volume of fire from the Defiler, but that re-rolling hits helps a lot. Okay. Looks like all these stay the same. Oh, Berserkers in green. Oh, finally. What do we get? A 10-point drop and a 15-point drop on the 20 models. Okay. That's good. I feel like Berserkers have been 180 points forever, and I feel like that is brutal, than being 180 points. I love my Berserkers. I think my RTT list is the only list I've ever run that did not have any Berserkers in it. And that's unfortunate because, I mean, the Berserkers, they're like your flagship unit. They should be easier to take, but 180 points for what they do feel kind of brutal. And I get the whole, they're balanced around Berserker Warband and blah, blah, blah. But still, while I do think they're more versatile than a lot of times they get credit for, 180 was just not great. Invocatus dropping by 100. Awesome. I've run Invocatus a couple, or dropping by 100, dropping by 10 to 100. I've run Invocatus a couple times here recently, and being able to give 8-bound Deep Strike, I found is a good way to kind of drop in, for one, a buffing piece, and probably the biggest utility for him, dropping in a buffing piece into an area that you got some other guys in, but also just being able to use them as a disturbance piece against some, infantry that's maybe in some back lines. I think that's great. Lord on Juggernaut, one of my favorites, dropping by 10 points. Very cool. The Lord on Juggernaut may actually be my favorite unit. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think he could hit a little harder. But every time I play with him, he very rarely, from my experience, does not last. Or very rarely in my experience does he not last until the end of the game. I feel like it could just be my rolls with him or something, but usually he lasts until the end of the game. His unit will be dead and he'll still be running around causing problems. It's like he's just tanky enough to make it through. But love that model. We're going to see what happens with our Blood Crushers here soon. Mauler Fiend dropping by 5. Awesome. Oh, no. Oh, Blood Crushers, no. Mauler Fiend dropping by 5. Very good. Love the Mauler Fiend. That Talons rule, like given the Cleave 2, this dude can hit extremely hard. So that's good. A little extra room in there for our Mauler Fiend. Oh, here we go. The 6 models up by 10. Not too bad. So they upped, I mean, I feel like if you're running the Blood Crushers and Lord on Juggernaut unit, I feel like you're running 6s. Not all the time. Still amazing for 95 points for 3. But basically, and generally you're only running one of those units. Well, you can only attach a Lord on Juggernaut once because you can only have that enhancement once time. But so they basically took those points they gave you on the Lord of Juggernaut and added those points to the Blade Crushers. I mean, was that really necessary? Was that unit strong enough that it was causing problems? I don't know. Interesting. Anything new on the detachments? Core stained veterans, the upgrade for the Terminators. Man, the Terminator's getting some love. That's good. Anything else? Looks like that maybe. Oh, Art Slaughter dropping by 10. I think that's good. Art Slaughter is cool, but I did think it was overcosted. I mean, giving a unit all of your blessings at once, it's a cool idea, cool in concept. Probably still do it, especially if you're got like a 30-point gap, which you may have run with all these drops. But you know, it's going to be an extremely rare circumstance that you'll have a time in which nearly all of your buffs at once will matter. So I think that's good. 40 points did always felt like a lot when trying those. So okay, that's my review for little reaction, I guess you'd say, to what the Munitorum Field Manual had for the World Eaters for today on 7/22/2026. That's good. I think it was needed. I've been seeing a lot of stuff that our win rate is super low. I've seen, I saw a couple things like on Auspex Tactics, by the way. Shout out Auspex. Showing that we're like third from the bottom, which is crazy. Now, I want to be clear, like, I'm a scrub at this game. But I do my best. But I didn't feel like we were underpowered. We just need a little bit of help. And I think these points could help get a little extra room to toy with, a little extra room to throw stuff in. I really just feel like we were a little too elite. I feel like our rules are still good. So we will see what this does. One thing that's exciting and one thing that I like to say about updates and all that, it kind of unlocks a new puzzle piece to do. A new puzzle piece to figure out. And I think that's what makes it fun. So, without further ado, I'll quit rambling. That was my little reaction to our little World Leaders update. I'm not gonna lie, super excited about the 8-bound and Exalted 8-bound and the Terminators. I think those are our big winners. That's a lot of extra points. We'll be slotting in some, hell, I don't know, spawn or something. I don't know. We can always theory craft later. All right, for anybody out there, appreciate you joining. Exciting times. If you're anything like me, you'll be up all night list building instead of sleeping like you should be. So, until next time, broadcasting from the realm of chaos. We're out.